Time flies when you're having fun and meeting with your Israel Brief community, as I do every Monday to Thursday. So if you are new to us, welcome. I am Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where we bring you those top stories making headlines in Israel every Monday to Thursday in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, Thursday shows are always exciting because in addition to our audience question that we take every day, and if you want to submit a question, please do so in the comment section or be in touch with us via our website. We also do the mensch and the moron of the week, and today I'll give you a hint. They both have a shade of emerald. Who will it be? Let's make sure that you stay tuned. Today is day 440 since the 7th of October. A reminder that there are still 100 hostages being held captive by Hamas inside the Gaza Strip. And as I say every single day, because we will not stop speaking for our hostages, we want them home now. So let's take a look at those top stories. And in the early hours of this morning, millions of Israelis were sent into our bomb shelters as sirens rang out following an attack by the Houthis, another Iranian-backed proxy from Yemen. The Houthis have claimed responsibility for firing 2 ballistic missiles towards the center of Israel. And the missiles were intercepted, and those interceptions did see shrapnel causing some damage. The warhead of one of the missiles exploded and hit a school in Ramat Gan, causing quite significant damage to the school. Thank goodness that this was not during the hours that children would have been present. And for all those who have been wailing when Israel strikes terror targets inside the Gaza Strip, which, including to the laws of armed conflict, are legitimate if we strike a school that is housing Hamas fighters after we have safely evacuated the civilians. You seem to be very, very quiet now when it comes to the firing on an Israeli school. Other cars were reported slightly damaged by shrapnel, and a short while ago it was reported that shrapnel also landed very close to the Knesset and also very close to where I am in Modi'in. Now, even though these missiles are intercepted, the sirens go off so that we go into our shelters, because the shrapnel can cause a significant amount of damage, and of course, safety first. Now, in response to the incessant attacks from the Houthis, the IAF launched airstrikes on military targets in Yemen. Some 14 fighter jets, along with refueling planes and spy planes, took off in the early hours of this morning in 2 waves. Now, yesterday I brought you the story that Israel is fast losing patience with these missile and drone attacks coming from the Houthis, and this strike in the early hours of this morning was planned for several weeks. So I will read to you from some of the readout from the IDF chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, who said that the dozens of fighter jets hit ports, power stations and oil facilities in Sana'a, Hodeidah and Ras Issa. These strikes aim to cripple infrastructure used for smuggling Iranian arms. The Houthis are a growing threat. Daniel Hagari, the IDF chief spokesperson, went on to call them a global threat backed by Iran. Rear Admiral Hagari noted in recent weeks the Houthis launched a drone attack at a residential building in Yavne in the south of Israel, causing damage to property, and went on to say the Houthis are also targeting other countries in the Middle East, the United States and other countries in the world, with their attacks on international shipping vessels and routes in the Red Sea and other places. The Houthis have become a global threat. Who is behind the Houthis? Iran. The regime in Iran arms and directs the Houthis' terror activities, and as we have shown against other enemies in other arenas, we will continue to act against anyone in the Middle East that threatens the state of Israel, and we will defend the state of Israel. In the last year, the Houthis have fired 200 rockets and 70 drones towards Israel. Yesterday, for the first time since the 7th of October, the family member of a hostage has addressed the UN Security Council. Michael Levy, whose brother Or was kidnapped from a shelter on the 7th of October, has sat as a captive by Hamas for 440 days. Or and his wife attended the Nova Festival and arrived about 10 or so minutes before the carnage took place. When the rockets were fired from the Gaza Strip, they took shelter in a migonit, a roadside bomb shelter, and sadly, Or's wife was slaughtered by Hamas and Or taken captive. They have a little son, Almog, who is asking, where are his parents? So I'll read to you a little bit of what Michael said to the UN Security Council. Now, this was yesterday, day 439. For 439 days, I have woken up every morning with a pit in my stomach, wondering where my brother is, wondering if he is cold, if he is hungry, if he managed to survive another day. Every moment he remains in captivity is a moment of unbearable suffering for him and all of us who love him. Holding civilians hostage, men, women, and children, is a violation of the principle that this very council was created to protect, and yet your silence is deafening. For every day this council fails to act, the message to the world is clear, that some lives are worth saving and others are not. It is day 440. Every single day we here in Israel are in constant anxiety for the state of our hostages, especially as temperatures drop. It is rainy season here, and as I said the other day, of course, we feel for the civilians inside the Gaza Strip who are also the victims of a war that Hamas forced on both of us on the 7th of October. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar had a very heated phone conversation with his Australian counterpart, Foreign Minister Penny Wong. This is according to the Israeli daily Yisrael Hayom. The foreign minister is reported to have told his Australian counterpart that Australia is distancing itself from its ally in a time of a challenging time of conflict. Penny Wong went on to say that she wants Israel to do more in ensuring humanitarian aid gets into the Gaza Strip. However, as we have ably demonstrated on a daily basis, Israel is sending aid continuously through the terrestrial land crossings as well as airdrops to ensure that civilians in the Gaza Strip have everything they need, despite the fact that this aid is often not collected by aid agencies or hijacked by Hamas. Now, Australia has drawn a lot of criticism both from Israel and domestically for changing its decades-old policies and distancing itself from allies like the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom at the United Nations where Israel is concerned. Last week, Australia voted for an immediate ceasefire that was not bound to the immediate and unconditional release of the hostages. Penny Wong and the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, have taken a lot of internal criticism inside Australia. Many see them as creating an environment that fans the flames of anti-Semitism and for endangering Australia's decades-strong relationship with the State of Israel. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the elections next year. And of course, we've been covering the horrific firebombing of the Adass Synagogue in Melbourne and the firebombing of cars and hate graffiti in Sydney. And finally, this morning, as sirens rang out in the north of Israel, in Kiryat Shmona and Manara, the IDF investigated that was deemed to be a false alarm. At the moment, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is continuing to hold. Meanwhile, a UAV or drone was fired from the Gaza Strip towards southern communities, sending the civilians there into their shelters as well. And a while ago, the IDF gave the command that the drone incident was over. So those are your top stories that we are ending the week off. Now let's get on to our audience question before we crown mensch and moron of the week. And today's question comes from Philip from Maryland, who says, Rolene, do you think Trump coming into office has had an effect on Hamas softening their stance? I think it has, and I know that there are many opinions out there about President-elect Trump, but he has used the language that we believe that every world leaders should have used on the 7th of October as hostages were taken, and that is return them immediately or all hell will break loose. I do think that Israel's military pressure on Hamas has also had a large part to play. Hamas is basically decimated, and Israel continues to operate in the Gaza Strip to ensure that they have no rebuilding capabilities. But I do think that President-elect Trump, who will take a hard line against Hamas, has had an effect on them softening their stance and acquiescing on a few points that were non-negotiables in recent months. So thank you, Philip, for sending me your question, and a reminder to anybody who wants to send theirs to pop it in the comments section below. So now let's get on to crowning the mensch and the moron of the week. So let's start with the moron. Let's get the bad news out first. And this week's moron goes out to the Irish President Michael Higgins for his ludicrous comments accusing Israel of gross slander and accusing Israel of labeling the Irish as anti-Semites when the comment specifically pertained to hostile policies. So President Higgins, who some say bears a very strange resemblance to a leprechaun or a hobbit, that is some people's opinions. I'm not giving mine. He is our moron of the week. However, our mensches of the week go out to the many, many, many people across Ireland who are showing their steadfast support for Israel and standing up against anti-Semitism. Not every Irish person is a Palestinian, which I've heard the pro-Palestinian Irish refer to as. Not every person is a Palestinian. There are many, 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 many people across Ireland who are supporting Israel. I know this because they have made contact with me. So to all our supporters in Ireland, thank you. I wish I spoke Gaelic so I could thank you personally, but I will have a Guinness this weekend in your honor, and let's keep those lines of communication and bridge building open, and from there I believe that we can make some real change. So that's it for me from today. A reminder that you can join me again on Monday. I wish you all a wonderful weekend and Shabbat Shalom. Don't forget to check us out on our website at www.layoftheland.online. We are on Facebook at Lottel's site, on YouTube right here at the Israel Brief, on X at Lay of the Land 5, on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, and on LinkedIn. I forgot about that one, at Rolene Marks. Hey guys, it's been a long day. I need a Guinness and a whiskey. And God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I will see you all again on Monday. Bye for now.